This is you, and this is your filter bubble.
What's that?
Your filter bubble acts like a pair of e-blinders while you're on the web, filtering out the things you're not interested in and showing you the things that you are. But before we dive too deep into the bubble, let's back up a bit and analyse some of the key concepts that feed into it, namely confirmation bias. Have you ever texted a friend only to receive a reply that was more abrupt than what you were expecting? Then without actually knowing why they'd sent such a short reply, you automatically assume that they were mad at you? Now this may be one of the possible reasons they sent you such a response. But should you choose to believe that they are in fact mad at you, and read into every response after that under that impression, pointing out this sentence or that sentence as reasons you can tell they're mad, then you are now a bit obsessive. But also acting out a form of confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is a phenomenon where decision makers have been shown to actively seek out and assign more weight to evidence that confirms a hypothesis, and ignore or underweigh evidence that could disconfirm this. While the term confirmation bias was coined by an English psychologist named Peter Wasson for his triplet experiment published in 1960, observations of its effects have been made by authors and scholars throughout history. In his book The World is Will and Representation, German philosopher and pessimism king himself, Arthur Schopenhauer, noted, "An adopted hypothesis gives us link size for everything that confirms it and makes us blind to everything that contradicts it." Even Joan of Arc wasn't immune to a little confirmation bias.
The sword lying in the field. That was a sign.
Oh, that was a sword in a field. You saw what you wanted to see.
Now what has this got to do with the filter bubble that I mentioned earlier? Well, the filter bubble can create a form of confirmation bias for you while you're on the web. Take for instance on social media. You may be under the impression that everyone has the same opinion as you, as that is all you see. But if you're more likely to interact with people who are more in line with your outlook on life, then the algorithms behind said social media have picked up on this and decided to show you more of the stuff that you're more likely to interact with. Sneaky, huh? The filter bubble itself is a brainchild of Eli Pariser, who had become more aware of the personalised net after he'd read a headline by a search engine blogger named Danny Sullivan. In his blog, Danny noted that Google had changed the way that they'd been producing search results, using 57 signals, more on that later, in order to personalise people's web results. Curious about what this meant in reality, Eli conducted an experiment where he asked two friends to Google search BP. This was around the time of the crude oil disaster in the Gulf of Mexico, and the results that returned were quite different. For one of them, the first page of results contained news headlines containing links about the oil spill, while the other received investment information about the company, only seeing information about the oil spill through a promotional ad from BP. As time went on and after further research into the area, he noticed that many websites collected data on their users and then sold this information to advertising agencies that produced personalised ads tailored to their users' preferences. Upon witnessing more and more sites jump on the data collecting and personalisation train, Facebook, YouTube, OkCupid and Yelp just to name a few, Eli began to wonder, is all of this stopping us from seeing the whole picture? Is it placing us inside our own filter bubbles?
Almost unnoticed, the internet changed. It turned into a place where former decisions made by a user influence the content people get to see. These automated decisions are becoming more and more precise every minute of every hour of every day. The internet is by far the biggest source of data mankind has ever seen. Every second, 6 Facebook profiles are created, 7,660 tweets are tweeted, and more than 60,000 Google searches are done. Much of what users see on the internet is defined by their search behaviour, the friends they have, and interactions they have with the people they follow. Techipedia describes the filter bubble as, "The filter bubble is the intellectual isolation that can occur when websites make use of algorithms to selectively assume the information a user will want to see, and then give information to the user according to this assumption." Websites make assumptions based on the information related to the user. This information is usually recorded through the user's click behaviour through their mouse, trackpad or touchscreen, browsing history, search history, and location. One of the key things in recording data is the HTTP cookie, also known as a browser cookie. The main purpose of the cookie is to identify users and possibly prepare customized web pages or to save login information. The important component of cookies, however, is that they store tiny parts of data to the computer itself rather than a server, making access to your information, preferences and history that much quicker and that much easier for advertisers to get hold of. In an investigation carried out by The Guardian, it was found that a return flight to Dublin, Ireland would cost £187. The journalist then proceeded to check another few airlines and comparison websites looking to get a cheaper deal. When they returned to the original £187 ticket, it had risen to £212. After deleting all local cookie files within their PC and returning to the website, the price dropped back to the original price of £187. This had happened because the travel website had read the cookies stored in the computer itself, about how the journalist had visited a different website and adjusted the price accordingly. The world's top 50 websites, on average, input 67 cookies and tracking pieces of code into your computer every time you visit it. The predominant way in which the world's most used internet service, Google, tracks people's online behaviour is through their own service called 57 Signals. What this does is create a catalogue and reads through the catalogue every time a person moves their cursor across the screen, every click they make, and every component of what it is they are doing, even when an individual is not logged into the service. The predominant feature of this is something called PageRank. PageRank is one of the methods used within Google's 57 Signals. Only 5 other factors are also known: a person's search history, location, active browser, computers being used, and language configuration. The other 51 factors remain a secret. PageRank is how Google determines a page's relevance or importance to users. It is decided through what they call a vote system by all other pages on the web. A link found on one web page that connects to another certain web page counts as a vote of support. If there's no link, then there is no support for that page, moving it further down the rankings. The more other web pages contain links to certain pages, the higher the page rank. The more users using said link, the higher the rank.
So we've seen what the filter bubble looked like in the past. Now let's see what it may look like in the future based on current trends of technology and social media. Currently, advertising focuses on communicating a product to a user that may be interested in said product. This is slowly changing as user data is sold to companies by such sites like Google. There are currently early versions of targeted advertising in place, like advertising a product you have recently viewed. However, advertisers will focus on prediction algorithms. For example, they may develop more refined methods of advertising things you have previously viewed. You may walk past a bubble one time and see the exact object you viewed last night or something similar on a discount. This is the future of the filter bubble, filtering out what you do and do not want to see, not only on the internet, but in real life. Think of it as a real life internet cookie.
I'm a Methodist. We believe that the Lord is our Savior, and we remember Him by going to church and praising Him every Sunday.
I'm a Seventh-day Adventist. We believe all the same things that you believe, but we go to church on Saturdays.
What?
The filter bubble will continue to produce a political divide, decreasing the population of moderates who do not have a political leaning. Social network filter bubbles create an environment in which moderates have incentives not to speak. The issue of filtering with algorithms is made worse by allowing the user to manually filter things that they do not want to see. Like, for example, the I do not want to see this box on Facebook. This option is for inappropriate posts that may not be suitable, but is also used if the user does not agree with said post. Doing this will cause Facebook to automatically filter posts related to that subject, possibly filtering out certain news or political opinions that are essential for political discourse. In 2014, researchers conducted a survey of 1,103 Israeli Facebook users between 3rd and 7th of September, a politically charged time in the Israel-Gaza conflict. During that period, half of the users were more active on Facebook and 16% of those unfriended someone on social media sites. In the future, if you have a close friend that posts political related content that you may not agree with, you'll be able to filter that person out into a non-political group, which will filter out all the posts that are related to politics that person may post. This will increase the divide we currently have and destroy any possibility of political discourse.
She blocked me. You ever been blocked?
A good example of this is from Black Mirror, when a couple have a big argument and the woman gets angry and visually blocks the guy. In this future, there is some sort of neural network where everyone is connected via a chip in their mind. It gives them access to various abilities like recording their memories, but it also gives the user the ability to block someone. This will block them visually and audio in real time. There's no reason why people could just block each other for varying political agendas or opinions. This is an example of real-time filtering, not social media, but again in real life.
Drives you crazy. Once they hit that button, that's it, you're locked out.
As the filter bubble adheres to technological developments and social media developments, it can only get harder and harder to burst your filter bubble. So it is up to you to make an effort to try and break out of it.